Welcome to the world of Deadpool, where the unconventional anti-hero Wade Wilson turns the superhero genre on its head with his dark humor, relentless action, and unexpected heart. Buckle up as we dive into the wild, twisted, and hilarious journey of Marvel's most unconventional character. At the beginning of the movie, we see two men in a taxi. One of them is driving, while the other, wearing a black and red suit, is sitting in the back. This man is Deadpool, the main character of the movie. He is on a mission, and as they drive, he talks to the taxi driver. Deadpool tells the driver that he has been searching for his enemy for more than a year, eager to find him and finish him off. The taxi driver, curious, asks why Deadpool is looking for this enemy. Deadpool explains that he seeks revenge. His enemy has done terrible things to him, including disfiguring his face and conducting numerous experiments on his body. To emphasize his point, Deadpool shows the driver his mask and says, "Look at it yourself." As they continue talking, Deadpool suddenly realizes that his weapon bag is not in the back seat. He tells the taxi driver that he forgot the bag, meaning he now has to rely only on 2 swords and a gun with just 12 bullets to take down his enemy. The taxi driver finds Deadpool's words both funny and strange, but he listens quietly as they drive. Meanwhile, Deadpool gets out on a bridge and starts making a drawing, shaking his legs like a child. Deadpool was drawing a plan for how he was going to kill his enemy. Suddenly, he notices his enemy's vehicles approaching. Without wasting any time, Deadpool jumps out and starts taking down his enemy's henchmen with the bullets from his gun. The scene is quite humorous as the vehicles tumble and crash in a chaotic manner. During this sequence, it is revealed that Deadpool's enemy is named Francis, a notorious villain and a truly bad man. As the news of Deadpool and Francis fighting spreads, it quickly becomes a hot topic, even making its way onto television. In another scene, we see a giant man who appears to be made of steel. Upon seeing the news about Deadpool and Francis, this man becomes visibly angry. A teenage girl with numerous small hairs approaches angrily, heading to confront Deadpool. The story then flashes back to Wade's past before he became Deadpool. Wade is at a park where he watches an exciting fight between a giant man and another man. Vanessa, a girl who strikes up a conversation with Wade, quickly becomes fond of him. Their friendship blossoms into a relationship, and they become a couple. After a year together, Wade suddenly collapses. When he wakes up, he discovers he has cancer in his brain, liver, and lungs, which deeply troubles both him and Vanessa. Back in the present, Deadpool is engaged in a fight. Francis manages to escape, but Deadpool hears the sound of Francis's bike approaching. He turns to face him and slashes Francis's hand with his sword. Blood streams from Francis's nose, and Deadpool declares, "I've had my revenge today. You were the one who did this to my face." He then removes his mask, revealing his scarred face to Francis. Francis, startled, says, "Oh, so you are him." As they continue their heated conversation, Colossus appears from behind and throws Deadpool, interrupting their confrontation. The story then shifts to the past. Vanessa reassures Wade, "Don't worry, I will never leave you. We will get through this together." Wade, distressed, responds, "No, Vanessa, I can't bear to see you like this. If something happens to me, what will happen to you? I don't want that." Wade's worry and love for Vanessa drive him to make a difficult decision. After saying this, Wade leaves and goes to a bar. He sits next to his friend, who tells him, "A man has been waiting for you here for a long time. Go and meet him." Wade, feeling lost and desperate, follows his friend's advice. When Wade meets the man, the stranger tells him, "I know you have a disease and want to treat it. I can help you with that. I can also give you superpowers." Wade, determined to maintain his humanity and skeptical of the stranger's offer, replies, "No, I want to live like a normal human being." However, the stranger's words linger in Wade's mind, adding to his internal conflict about his future and the potential impact on Vanessa. The weight of his decisions presses heavily on him as he contemplates the offer, knowing it could change everything. "I'm not interested," Wade says, walking away from the stranger. The scene then shifts back to the present. Colossus, the Steel Man, confronts Deadpool, asking, "What is the problem with you? Why are you using your powers wrongly?" Deadpool snaps back, "Don't teach me. I will definitely take revenge for what you did to me." The teenager shouts to Deadpool, "Look back!" Deadpool turns only to realize that Francis has escaped. Furious, he blames Colossus, shouting, "If you hadn't distracted me, he wouldn't have escaped." Enraged, Deadpool begins to attack Colossus. Despite Deadpool's fierce assault, Colossus's tough metal body withstands most of the blows. Colossus, frustrated and angered, shouts, "You've made me lose my patience." With a powerful strike, he sends Deadpool flying. Colossus then binds Deadpool's wrists together and drags him away. As Colossus restrains him, Deadpool begins to act strangely, plotting his next move with a determined glint in his eye. Open his hand, Deadpool simply cuts it, causing blood to pour out. If he were an ordinary person, he might have died from such a wound, but Deadpool hints that there's a reason he didn't die, a secret he plans to reveal later. After this, Deadpool jumps off the bridge and lands in a truck below. The scene then shifts back to the past. Wade was once an ordinary human. He wakes up to find himself in a strange place, surrounded by 2 people, a man and a woman. They inject something into his body and subject him to various experiments, torturing him relentlessly. They give him electric shock, immerse him in ice-cold water, and beat him severely, all to push his body body to its limits in the hopes of inducing some change. The torture is constant and brutal. Wade endures extreme pain as he is repeatedly subjected to these horrific methods. The electric shocks leave his body convulsing. The freezing water makes him feel like he's being stabbed by 1,000 icy needles, and the relentless beatings leave him bruised and battered. Despite all this torment, Wade's body shows no signs of transformation yet. The experiments continue day after day, with the hope that his body will eventually respond. The man and woman overseeing the process remain determined, increasing the intensity of their methods in a desperate attempt to trigger a change in Wade's condition. But as of now, no visible change has occurred in his body. They were doing all this so that mutations might occur in Wade's body, granting him super abilities. Wade is tied up and restrained in one place. Nearby, another patient is being tortured as well. This patient tells Wade that the doctor torturing them is Francis. Wade realizes that this is the same Francis who seems possessed by some inner demon. Francis comes to Wade again and puts him in a chamber with no oxygen. As he is deprived of air, Wade starts suffocating. His body begins to react strangely, as if it has been exposed to acid, causing intense burning sensations. Francis tries to talk to Wade, but Wade remains silent. As soon as Francis leaves, Wade takes a matchstick out of his mouth. There is a pipe connected to the chamber that leads straight to a gas cylinder. Wade strikes the match and throws it at the pipe, causing it to catch fire. The resulting blaze engulfs the entire lab in flames. Seizing the opportunity, Wade escapes from the burning chamber and starts attacking Francis with a vengeance, fueled by the intense pain and rage from the torture he endured. But Francis pushes Wade, causing him to fall. Wade's body is weak from all the torture, and despite his efforts, he can't match Francis's strength. During their fight, Francis grabs a rod and impales Wade with it. The lab continues to burn, with debris falling all around. Francis escapes, leaving Wade behind. Hours pass, and the fire finally dies down. The entire building has been reduced to ashes, with Wade trapped beneath the rubble. When Wade finally emerges from the debris, he is shocked to find himself alive. He realizes that his body has undergone mutations, granting him incredible healing abilities and making him effectively immortal. However, his body is horribly disfigured from the burns. Wade is overwhelmed by the realization that he has survived but is horrified by the state of his body. Despite his newfound immortality, his skin is scarred and burnt beyond recognition. His thoughts immediately turn to Vanessa, worrying that she must be desperately searching for him. Determined to find her, Wade sets off. Along the way, people continue to give him strange looks, making him realize that something is seriously wrong with his face. Meanwhile, Vanessa goes inside a building, unaware of Wade's approach. When Wade looks at his face in a mirror outside, he becomes deeply saddened. Seeing his disfigured reflection, he mutters to himself, "Vanessa will never accept me like this." Filled with despair, Wade heads to the bar where his friend is. He approaches his friend and says, "Look at what happened to my face. Vanessa will never want to see me again." His friend responds, "Really? What can you do about it now?" Wade sighs and replies, "The man who said he could cure me isn't here anymore. I have no idea how to fix this." His friend thinks for a moment and then says, "If the man who claimed he could cure your disease isn't around, then find the man who ruined your face. He's the one who can fix it. He probably thinks you're dead and doesn't know you have superpower. That's why he left you there." Wade's friend then suggests, "You need to do something for yourself. Create a mask and a suit so he won't recognize you. That way, you can search for him and take your revenge. I'm going to call you Deadpool from now on." And so, Wade adopts the name Deadpool, masking his true identity as he prepares to hunt down the man who transformed his life and seek his revenge. Wade returns to his house and crafts a makeshift mask from a piece of white cloth. Thus begins his journey to find Francis. Over the next year, he relentlessly searches for Francis, taking out his frustration on Francis's associates when he can't find him. During this time, Wade, now fully embracing his identity as Deadpool, refines his appearance, creating a black and red suit. Finally, the day arrives when he gets a lead on Francis's whereabouts. He encounters the same man who had once promised to cure his disease. Sensing a connection to Francis, Deadpool confronts him angrily, demanding to know where Francis is. Terrified, the man reveals the information. The scene shifts to the present, where Deadpool is riding in a taxi driven by Dopinder. As the past and present storylines converge, we see Deadpool's determination to find Francis reaching a climax. This is where the real story picks up, with Deadpool having just escaped from the junk truck. Deadpool regains consciousness and realizes the truck has stopped. Confused but determined, he prepares to continue his mission, fueled by his desire for revenge against Francis. It turns out that the junk truck has stopped in front of the house of an old lady who often came to the laundromat where Deadpool used to wash clothes. This old lady had suggested that he make his suit black and red. Despite her blindness, she and Wade had become friends. She couldn't see Wade's disfigured face, but Wade told her everything that had happened to him. During their conversation, it's revealed that Deadpool's superpowers allow his body parts to heal and regrow when cut off. He asks the old woman, "Can I stay here until my hand grows back? I need to find Francis after that." She agrees to let him stay. Meanwhile, Francis and the same woman who had injected Wade with the experimental serum are searching for Wade. They visit Wade's friend and demand to know his whereabouts. His friend claims he doesn't doesn't know where Wade is. However, Francis's female accomplice finds a picture of Wade and Vanessa. Recognizing Vanessa, she tells Francis, "I know Vanessa. It will be easy to find Wade through her." As they leave, Wade's friend calls Wade and tells him everything. Worried, Wade heads to the bar where Vanessa worked. He asks everyone there, is scared of how she might react to Wade's disfigured face. So, Deadpool goes to the washroom to avoid confronting her directly. Meanwhile, someone informs Vanessa that someone is looking for her, and she excitedly thinks Wade has come. She goes outside, but doesn't find Wade. Instead, Francis and his accomplice kidnap her. When Deadpool comes out of the washroom, anxious about talking to Vanessa, he realizes she's nowhere to be found. He then receives a text from Francis, who also goes by the fake name Ajax. The message says, "If you want to see Vanessa again, come to this location." Determined to save Vanessa, Deadpool heads back to his house to gather all his weapons. He enlists the help of Colossus and the teenage girl, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and they catch a taxi to the specified location. Along the way, Deadpool realizes he has forgotten his weapons bag in the taxi. Frustrated, he mutters, "I only have a sword now. Am I supposed to fight with just a sword?" They arrive at a junkyard where Francis has called them. As they prepare for the confrontation, Deadpool spots Francis and his accomplice standing on a container. Francis sends his accomplice down to face Deadpool and his team. A fierce battle ensues. Negasonic Teenage Warhead uses her speed and strength to fight Francis's accomplice. Colossus throws large tires at Francis's men, effectively keeping them at bay. With his companions handling the henchmen, Deadpool sees an opening and makes his way to Francis. Deadpool climbs up to the container where Francis is waiting, and they begin to fight. Down below, Francis's female accomplice has Colossus in a tight grip with a steel beam, crushing his neck. Seeing this, Negasonic Teenage Warhead unleashes her full power. The impact shakes all the containers in the junkyard, including the one holding Vanessa. As Vanessa's container begins to fall, Deadpool leaps into action, managing to save her just in time. He pulls her out of the container and ensures she's safe. However, Francis seizes the moment and attacks Deadpool once more. Despite the surprise attack, Deadpool's healing abilities kick in quickly. He recovers and tackles Francis, pinning him down. Sitting on top of him, Deadpool angrily demands, "Who told you to give me these super abilities?" He continues to pummel Francis, landing blow after blow. Francis's nose and mouth start to bleed profusely under Deadpool's relentless assault. Deadpool grabs Francis and demands, "Fix my face." Francis starts laughing, mocking Deadpool. "Do you really think I'll fix your face?" Angrily, Deadpool responds, "Okay, if that's how it's going to be." He pulls out a small gun and aims it at Francis. Just as he's about to pull the trigger, Colossus shouts from behind, "Deadpool, don't misuse your powers. You are a hero. You can't do this." But Deadpool, driven by his thirst for vengeance, doesn't listen. He shoots Francis in the face. The sight is gruesome, and despite his outwardly tough appearance, Colossus is horrified, feeling sick to his stomach. Afterward, Vanessa rushes to Deadpool and starts punching him in a mix of relief and anger. Deadpool tells her, "Okay, punch me. I know you're right and I probably deserve it, but there's something I need to show you and you might not accept me after you see it." Vanessa, confused and worried, asks, "What is it?" Deadpool responds, "Take off my mask and you'll see for yourself." Vanessa hesitates but then removes his mask, revealing another layer beneath it. When Vanessa removes the mask, Deadpool's real face is revealed, burned and disfigured. Vanessa looks at him and says, "What's wrong with it? Your eyes, nose, and mouth are all fine. It's just a skin issue. Not everyone has flawless skin. I'll get used to it soon, but I'm not leaving you." Both of them are reassured and happy, reconnecting once again. This marks the end of Deadpool's first chapter. If you want to see the next part, then click on it. As part 2 begins,